But I think laying the foundation for this is what we have to do to compete at a championship level. Yeah. Like this is why home court matters. This is why you can't have off day. This is why we can't be 11th in the league in defense, right? Like we got to get to at least middle of the pack. You know, all of those different things. And so as a competitor, it's exciting.
Did you hear what Stephanie White just said about Caitlin Clark? It wasn't what anyone expected. Indiana Fever's new head coach dropped a bombshell in her latest interview, and it's got everyone talking.
It's exciting to coach generational talents, you know, and that outweighs the other stuff that we might have to deal with.
White didn't just praise Clark. She revealed something that could change the entire landscape of the WNBA. Are you ready to hear the truth about the league's newest superstar and the coach who's known her since she was in middle school? Stay tuned, because Coach White wasn't the only coach in that interview. Another rival coach just revealed an amazing story about Clark that you wouldn't believe. Are you ready? Let's go.
Do I think it's going to be a seamless transition? No. I mean, it's going to take some time. And just like any young team, I mean, you don't get back-to-back #1 picks by being really talented early, right? Just like any young team, it's going to take some time. You know, and we got to put some pieces together, and we've got to continue to build. So managing expectations is going to be important.
Consider this a packed gym. The air, heavy with expectancy among the crowd, sits Stephanie White, her eyes fixated on a young player who's dribbling circles around her opponents. But this isn't just any player, it's an 8th grader. Caitlin Clark? Could you believe it?
Watching Caitlin Clark when she was in the 8th grade when I was at Vanderbilt.
How about that?
And then I called a lot of her games in college when she was at Iowa. And so I've really watched her continue to learn and grow, and I have great relationships with her college coaches, and had multiple conversations with them throughout the course of her career about what the next steps would be, right? And what the next level would be.
For over a White has been watching Clark's every move. She's had a front row seat to Clark's incredible journey from middle school prodigy to college superstar. But here's where it gets interesting. White wasn't just a passive observer. She was analyzing, studying, and yes, even dreaming about coaching this phenomenal talent one day.
Caitlin isn't just great for women's basketball. She is great for the entire game. She's more than just points.
She absolutely is. I mean, let's not forget, this is a young woman who led the nation in assists as well. She's accomplished records that haven't ever been accomplished in the sport of collegiate basketball.
Caitlin isn't just great for women's basketball. She's great for the entire game. She's more than just points. Let's not forget that this is a young woman who leads the nation in assists as well. She's set records that have never been broken in the sport of collegiate basketball.
You know, I'm looking forward to, you know, when you think about Caitlin Clark and a generational talent, and, you know, the sometimes overlooked Kelsey Mitchell, who has been like one of the hardest workers that I've ever seen from the time I was covering her at Big Ten Network, watching her at Ohio State. And then Aaliyah Boston, who, you know, prior to Caitlin Clark coming on the scene, was another generational talent and is, right? Like, so it's like you think about the pieces that we have and putting that all together.
White's words paint a picture of Clark as more than just a basketball player. She's a cultural phenomenon, a generational talent that comes once in a lifetime. The way White talks about Clark, it's clear she sees something special, something that goes beyond stats and scoreboards. And here's the kicker. White's excitement about coaching Clark in the Fever is palpable. She can barely contain herself when she says, "What an outstanding moment we have in women's basketball right now, and I am thankful and grateful for it." It's as if White knows she's about to be part of something big, something that could change the game forever.
Hope number one for Caitlin, that I can be a resource. You know, I didn't have the same stuff that she has on a global scale. You know, thankfully we didn't have social media at the time, which amplifies everything. But I've been through it on a smaller scale, and so hopefully I can help her navigate, you know, some of the extra stuff, while pushing her to be her best and challenging her to step outside of her comfort zone on the floor.
But let's not forget, this isn't just about Clark White's insights. Provide us a window into the future of the Fever. She's not just happy about coaching Clark, she's thrilled about The team they're building, you can just feel the enthusiasm in her voice when she talks about the upcoming season.
I have the advantage of I was an opponent, right? And so scouting her and this is what we try to do to make you uncomfortable. This is how we game planned for you. And again, being that straight shooter, like, okay, like these are the areas that we need to improve. And putting those pieces together while also thinking about the holistic version of this team that we have, who is incredibly gifted on the offensive end of the floor. Offense is what I love. And so trying to think about all these things that we can do.
White's decade-long connection to Clark isn't just a cool fact, it's a game changer. It means she understands Clark's strengths, weaknesses, and potential in a way that no other coach could. She's seen Clark grow, adapt, and overcome challenges. She's witnessed firsthand the work ethic and determination that's made Clark the player she is today.
We had a staff meeting a couple of weeks ago in Indy, and it was like, guys, we got to scale it back. We're not going to be able to do all of this in year one. We're not going to be able to do all of this in training camp. Like, we're going to be able to. So staying ahead of the curve and watching all of these, NBA games and EuroLeague games and thinking about the things that we can do is really exciting to me.
It's exciting for me? Let's rewind the clock a bit. When Caitlin Clark was lighting up college basketball, Stephanie White was there with her microphone. But she wasn't just another analyst gushing over a star player. White saw something in Clark that others missed. She didn't just focus on the flashy plays and jaw-dropping stats. White was examining Clark's court vision, her basketball IQ, and her ability to improve her teammates. In one of her broadcasts, White released a bombshell regarding Clark's game, saying, "I think she reads the game better than other stars. That's huge, folks." White was not only applauding Clark's scoring ability, she was underlining the intangibles that make a good player great.
Caitlin Clark is just at the epitome of the intersection of social media, of pop culture, and fan engagement in a way that we've never seen, and she's moving the needle forward for all athletes.
Fast forward to Clark entering the WNBA. The hype was real, but so was the pressure, and who was there standing firm in Clark's corner? You guessed it. Stephanie White spoke up and supported Clark after losing her first 2 WNBA games, reminding everyone that even the greatest players need time to adjust.
Looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time, and she will. I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game. She continues to get better, and these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this.
This White coaching against Clark in the playoffs, you'd think she'd be focused on stopping her right wrong. Even then, White couldn't help but express your joy for the Fever's future with Clark. It's as if she knew something we didn't.
Exciting. Certainly I was born and raised in Indiana, and so have a lot of pride in Indiana basketball, and a lot of pride in the Fever organization, being a player and a coach there. And it's exciting what's happening with the organization and where they are. I mean, most organizations have their ups and downs, certainly. But I'm proud of the growth of the Indiana Fever. Excited, about the future of the Indiana Fever. And
what's your approach when you're coaching greatness like that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just talking basketball, right? Just having general basketball conversations about what she's watching, what she likes, what are some of the things that what are some of her thoughts from, not just what the Indiana Fever have done, but from the game of basketball in general.
But here's when things become very fascinating. White's coaching philosophy is all about maximizing player potential. She's not just looking to win games, she's looking to build something lasting. When talking about coaching, Clark, in the Fever, White said, "This is the moment we've been waiting for. That's not just excitement, that's a coach who knows she has all the pieces to create something extraordinary. Imagine this, it's a pivotal moment in the game between Iowa and Purdue. The tension is thick, and everyone's on the edge of Purdue's coaching staff believes they have the perfect plan to stop the unstoppable Caitlin Clark. But they are about to learn a hard lesson about anticipating the unexpected."
I mean, let me tell you, so this is crazy. So it's the end of, I don't know, maybe a quarter or half, I'm not sure which, but we were going to take a foul on her, right? And so Caitlin Clark brings it over, and she brings it over close to where Katie Gerald's is, and we were going to tell Jayla Smith to foul, and so Katie said, "I'll tell you when," and so you can see Caitlin like hear that.
Yeah.
Purdue coach Kelly Kamar had it all figured out. They were going to foul Clark before she could get a shot off, right? Well, not when you're dealing with a player like Caitlin Clark.
Now, Jayla Smith goes to foul. She throws it up.
Yep.
Turns around. It goes in.
Yep.
It freaking goes in, and she didn't even see it. And then she starts going, and one. I'm like, oh my God.
Here's where it gets wild. Clark, who has amazing court awareness, somehow overhears the coach's plan as Purdue Jayla Smith moves into foul. Clark does something that leaves everyone stunned. She throws up a shot, turns around without looking, and swoosh.
Whatever you're scheming, whatever you're thinking you're going to try, like, I mean, we all just did our best, right?
Yeah,
We just did the best we could, and at the end of the day, it was what it was. But, you know, somebody like that, you know, everybody has to kind of cross their fingers and kind of throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks with her. But it was pretty cool to experience Mackey Arena and Caitlin Clark at the same time. I mean, it was pretty fun.
This moment, this unattainable shot, it's more than just a highlight genuine play. It's a great example of what makes Clark so special. Her ability to read the game, anticipate what's coming, and transform even the most hopeless scenarios into magic is what distinguishes her. Think about it. How many players can say they've made a shot without looking at the basket while being fouled after overhearing the other team's plan? This is something you'd expect to see in a movie, not in a real college basketball game.